Hi, I'm Rachel Malone with Gun Owners of America, and I'd like to talk about how we can win for gun rights. Now, if you're watching this, you probably care about our right to keep and bear arms. And you understand how important it is to have legislators who will defend that right. Now, we have an election coming up soon. Unfortunately, there are many races in this election where there's just not a strong pro-gun candidate. However, there are some seats, some races, where we do have a very strong gun owner's choice candidate in the race. And we need to do everything we can to help those candidates win so our right to keep and bear arms can be protected. So here are two very important things you can do to help these gun owner's choice candidates win. It all has to do with voter contact, and here's what I mean by that. Voters tend to be more likely to vote for a candidate if somebody has personally approached them and talked about that candidate. So I'm not talking about just a Facebook ad or a radio ad or something that they see, but I'm talking about face-to-face contact or possibly on-the-phone contact. The two main ways of reaching out are going to be knocking on doors or making phone calls. So let's talk about each one of those separately and how you can do it. Because I promise you, you can. It doesn't take any special skill. You don't have to enjoy talking to people. Here's the key. You don't even have to talk to people in order to be an effective part of a voter contact team and helping get the vote out for these candidates. So first, door knocking or block walking. I'll use the terms interchangeably. It means the same thing. So here's what you do. You can either join maybe a Facebook event or an invitation you get over email to go to a block walking party. Or if you don't see one of those come through for your candidate of choice, you can just go to that candidate's website and enter your information on their volunteer sign-up form. Sign up as a volunteer to block walk or to door knock. And they'll reach out to you and give you instructions, but most likely you'll be showing up to an event with other people. You'll meet at a public place. I've met at gas station parking lots, public buildings, IHOP restaurants, your establishment of choice. People meet in all different places, get together, maybe have a little bite to eat in the morning. Typically it's a Saturday morning, but it can also be weekday mornings or evenings. And the campaign will usually have a representative there to give you some instructions. We'll talk to you a little about the candidate. The candidate will be there himself or herself if they can. And you'll be given a walk list and some literature on the candidate. Let's talk about the walk lists. That can either be a piece of paper with names and addresses or an app that you sign into that has that mapped out already for you. Either way, it's not going to be just literally every single house along the block. It's going to be certain specially selected houses where the campaign has pulled the data and says, you know, these are the people who are more predisposed to like this candidate's policies. So when you go and try to get the voters to vote for this candidate, it's not as much of a hard sell. You're just saying, hey, these issues that I know you already have expressed you care about, this candidate's going to help fight for them. Please make sure you vote for this candidate. So your walk list will be of those specially selected houses. Sometimes you get to choose whether it's paper or an app, and sometimes it's just the campaign's choice of whatever they're using. And then people like to do this different ways. Some people will go drive to that particular neighborhood, get out of their car and go knock on all the doors in that neighborhood. Maybe go around the block, knock on those selected houses, then get back in their car and go to the next neighborhood. That works fine. Personally, for me, I prefer to do it as a team. So I'll have somebody else be driving and maybe navigating and figuring out which houses to go to. And then I'll sit in the passenger seat and I'll hop out when we have a house or two to knock, and I'll knock a couple of houses in a row, get back in the car, drive to the next one, and get out and do it again. Either way works. It sometimes depends on your preference and on a teammate's availability. Now, when you go to the doors, all you have to do is knock on the door. If somebody's there, just say, hey, I'm a volunteer with so-and-so campaign, and here are the reasons that I'm supporting this candidate, and I encourage you to vote for him or her also. Here's some information about the candidate, and early voting starts on this particular day, so I encourage you to vote. Usually that's all the conversation is. Usually they're not interested in a lengthy conversation. If they do happen to ask you questions, if you know the answer, that's great. If not, you can just say, I'm a volunteer, but I will be very happy to ask the campaign or the candidate himself or herself to get back with you. And that's all you need to do. You don't have to have all the answers. all you have to do is just make that personal contact. Many times they won't be there and you can just leave the literature there. So that's basically block walking or door knocking. It's easy, you can do it. Again, if you don't want to be the person who talks to folks at the door, you can sit in the car and drive, you can help navigate. There are plenty of other jobs to do. If it's hard for you to walk around much, or you don't want to get out in the heat, you can again be part of a team where you're driving around so you don't have to get out as much. So let's go ahead and talk about phone banking. You know what? That's even easier. So for phone banking, again, you can join a pre-existing event or you can just sign up on the campaign's volunteer page. Now this is one that you can do all by yourself from your home without even ever leaving the couch, which means you can effectively volunteer for somebody who's not right there in your district. Don't forget that even if the candidate is not in your district, you're not in their district, them being in the legislature, for example, in your state legislature and supporting your right to keep and bear arms, that's still going to benefit you. And so it's still important to work to get those great constitutional loving candidates in office. So you can volunteer to phone bank, and if you're doing it by yourself, in your own home apart from an event, the campaign will probably sign you up to go to a training, maybe on Zoom or some other online platform, and they'll teach you how to use their system. Typically, you'll sign into an app either on your phone or on a computer. It's not hard to do. You don't have to be super technologically savvy. Sometimes you can also just get a paper list if you prefer, and that often works well. And so you'll have a script to call. The app, if you're using an app, will dial for you, but it doesn't even use your own phone number. So the person you're calling won't know what your phone number is. You don't have to worry about security or privacy issues. It'll show up as a different number. So it'll do the dialing for you. You read off a script. Most of the time, you're going to get an answering machine and you just read off the script, letting the voter know about that candidate and encouraging them to vote. If somebody does answer the phone, again, you just go through your quick talking points on your sheet. If they have any questions, you can answer them if possible, or just let them know the campaign will be happy to get back with them. That's really all there is to it. Phone banking is very easy. You can do it on your own time. You can set aside maybe an hour once a week on an evening when you just can get free for an hour. That can help so much between now and elections. Or get out there and join a block walking party and go actually talk to the voters face to face. Whatever you do, I really do encourage you to find those great candidates, those gun owners' choice champions who will absolutely fight for our right to keep and bear arms. And once you find those candidates, be sure to get out there and help them win so they can help defend our all-important right to keep and bear arms.